From Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Comcast Sportsnet brings you Houston Astros baseball. Today, it's the deciding game of this three-game weekend series between the Astros and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Good afternoon, everybody. Bill Brown and Alan Ashby to see who wins this series. The Astros have already clinched a win in the season series, and they will go with the right-hander Paul Clemens today against Jerome Williams of the Angels. We've been marveling over the September work of Jose Altuve. Ash?
Guy's been tremendous with the bat in particular. No doubt about it. Leads the major leagues in hits with 26 as he's just tearing it up. Jose Altuve, 6 doubles on the month as he hits the ball to all fields down that right field line, as well as right back up the middle. Hits like this leading to the 26 hits. And of course, driving it to left field, does have a home run. He's scored 12 runs. He's driven in 10. He has stolen 5 bases in the month. He's been a terror in every offensive category you want to look at. Jose Altuve playing the way you would love to see. Oh, and a little defense mixed in as well.
So here are the numbers. 441 average, 593 slugging percentage. He's driven in 10 in the 13 games, 9 multi-hit games, 4 multi-run games. How did they get him out? They haven't found the solution yet in September, Ash.
1 year ago, an All-Star this year, did not make the All-Star team, but Jose Altuve finishing the year in All-Star fashion.
He might be a postseason All-Star, and that could be very important. Leila Rahimi has more coming up as the Astros fans are being greeted by the players coming in as the players show their appreciation for the fan support. And also, it's Dog Day. Leila comes back with more in just a moment.
Of the last game of the season series between the Angels and the Astros taking place here in Houston and at Minute Maid Park. And as you can see, it is a special day here at the park. We have special visitors of the canine kind. It is Dog Day at Minute Maid Park, and that is not the only thing going on that took place before the game. In fact, the Astros were pulling double duty. Many of the Astros working the gates here at the park. Josh Fields, also Brad Peacock, David Martinez, Dallas Keuchel, Kevin Chapman, Josh Zeid, and J.D. Martinez were scanning tickets, taking pictures with fans, and doing some usher work. They did a nice job. And then, of course, Dog Day at Minute Maid Park taking place all during the game. There was a parade before the game at 10:45 this morning. More than 100 dogs paraded around the field, got to show off and hopefully get some free dog food on the concourse when they were done. So we have some happy visitors who hopefully will cheer on the Astros as best they can when they have the third and final game of the series coming up in just a moment. We are not done here. We need you to get your dancing shoes on. In honor of tonight's Dancing with the Stros event, I took part too. The Astros hope to dance their way back into this series. Jeff Blum also supporting. We will have first pitch coming up next.
Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Dog Day afternoon here at Minute Maid Park. There's Kay Hill with her pooch. And we saw the parade with the scouts on the field before the game. So a chance for people with their dogs, people in scout uniforms, the folks, in fact, who just sang the anthem were scouts, to all gather and see Game 3 of this series with the Cincinnati Reds coming in tomorrow night. And so that will be the extent of this 6-game homestand, and then only 3 more home games remain after this homestand. The Astros will be going out to Cleveland and Texas on their final road trip of the year very soon. So as these Sunday afternoon fans have gathered, they'll be watching Paul Clemens face an Angel lineup for Mike Scioscia, which begins with former Astro J.B. Shuck in left field. It's Howie Kendrick at second base. Mike Trout is the DH. The cleanup man is center fielder Josh Hamilton. Mark Trumbo's at first base. Cole Calhoun plays right field with Eric Ibar at shortstop. Hank Conger is the catcher. Andrew Romine plays third base and bats ninth.
On the mound for the Astros, 25-year-old right-hander Paul Clemens reinserted in that starting rotation now. He's 4-4 on the year, 5.91 the ERA. A lot of the work done out of the bullpen for Paul. Now a couple of starts, making his third since being reinserted or inserted into that starting rotation. Last time out, 3 2/3 innings in a no decision, allowed 7 hits and 4 runs, 3 of those earned. For Clemens, staying away from the home run ball is a big part of what he needs to accomplish. Defensively for Houston here this afternoon. Start behind the plate. Matt Pagnozzi gets the start. Around the infield, right to left, Chris Carter, Jose Altuve, who is tearing it up. Jonathan Villar also playing very well. And Matt Dominguez, same story in the outfield. Brandon Barnes in center, flanked by Trevor Crow in right and Mark Krause in left field.
In the season series, the Astros lead 10-8, and the batting average about the same. Astros are averaging 4.2 runs per game. Their ERA is 3.41, and that goes a long way toward explaining how they have already clinched a win in the season series with 10 wins and 8 losses and 1 game to go against the Angels.
That young starting rotation now is starting to shape up, pitching well for the ball club, and the offense has been terrific here in the month of September.
Now Paul Clemens gets the baseball from Matt Dominguez, gets ready to go to work to J.B. Schuck. Schuck has had quite a year of it. He ranks at the top or near the top in many offensive departments among American League rookies. 296, 2 homers, 39 runs batted in for J.B. He leads American League rookies in hits with 117 and runs with 52. Total bases with 148, doubles with 19, and multi-hit games. Still getting the dogs off the field.
Is this the official end of the dog days of summer?
It looks like some stragglers have to be led into their seats. And Paul Clemens is just staring out there into the right field corner while they clear the field of dogs.
Apparently no ground rules are in effect for this.
Well, dogs seem to be rather reluctant to go in the direction in which they're being ushered right now. And that never happens with dogs, of course. Well, let's try this other direction and get this game underway. Why don't we? Dog delay in Houston.
Is that a dog or is that a wolf? I'm not sure what's going on now.
We've had very few delays of games since Minute Maid Park opened. This one is a dog delay. There was a brief shower that came over years ago when the roof was open and the tarp actually had to be pulled out over the infield. That's the only time that's ever happened in this ballpark. So a very brief delay for that one. That's the only memorable occasion when it comes to a delay in a game in the 13-year history of Minute Maid Park. And now we'll roll. So this game's about 3 minutes late in starting, and Paul Clemens goes to work on J.B. Schuck. Schuck, 26 years old, from Westerville, Ohio. He went to Ohio State. And that strike one. Tim Timmons is the home plate umpire. He rings it up. Schuck's on a 5-game hitting streak right now. JB 8 for 23 during his 5-game stretch. 2 for 4 in this series with an RBI. It's 1-1 outside. It's 88 degrees inside. Very comfortable for these Minute Maid Park fans. Schuck has a .328 on base average. He's gotten a lot of playing time in the outfield this year with the injuries the Angels have had. Peter Borges has been out for quite a bit of time. Hits this one to left center field. A long run for Brandon Barnes. Barnes cruising back to make it look easy on out number 1.
Your point is that Brandon Barnes makes so many of these plays look easy. Plays that, while the ball gets started in the air toward the gap, look like baseball's going to find ground before an outfielder can get there. But Brandon Barnes just continues to show the wheels and the instincts in center field. He has been spectacular.
Now he's backpedaling over into right center field for Howie Kendrick. He really had to move. Kendrick puts one in the air, and this one sails back into the seats. Now the Astros have been setting up with the center fielder in right center for Kendrick, but from where Barnes was, he was furiously backpedaling to get to his position. And there's strike one on Kendrick. Kendrick, a .301 hitter with 11 homers, has 48 runs batted in. Howie's gone 3 for 9 since he came back to the lineup Friday night in this series. He'd been on the disabled list with a hyperextended left knee. He's an important man to their offense. 1 ball, 1 strike to Kendrick. Just a solid hitter. When he was hurt, he had 126 hits. That was second among Major League second basemen at the time, behind only Destin Pedroia of the Boston Red Sox. Clemens missing upstairs makes it 2-1. This, as Alan mentioned, is the 3rd start for Paul Clemens this season. In his career, he's 0-1 against the Angels with a 7.36 ERA and 3 games in relief. Missing there, he falls behind Kendrick with Trout on deck. It's 3-1 to Howie. Kendrick, 29 years old, from Jacksonville, Florida. Went to St. John's River Community College. Ground ball to the left side. 2-hopper to Matt Dominguez. 2 outs for Paul Clemens. The Angels lead the majors in first inning runs. They've scored 97 runs in the first inning. Mike Trout comes up.
That formula right there from starting pitcher Paul Clemens, falling behind 3-1 and then having to come with that fastball. Not a good formula for success. He gets the out, but that's one of those scenarios you want to stay away from.
Trout DHing today, checks in at .332, 23 homers, 86 runs batted in, second best batting average in the American League behind Miguel Cabrera. Strike 1 to Trout. Trout leads the league in runs scored with 103. He's tied for second in hits. He leads in walks with 99. Joey Votto, the only player who has gone over 100 walks in the majors so far this season. And he'll be here tomorrow night with the Reds. Trout looks at it. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. It's been just another terrific year for Trout, who's reached base now in 42 consecutive games. And he's reached base in this series without a hit, but he's walked 5 times in the 2 games. Curveball, and it's ball 2.
Matt Pagnozzi looked like he was crossed up on that curveball.
He did, the way he reacted. By the way, Max Stassi has been catching bullpens the last couple of days. He caught the bullpen for Brad Peacock before this game today. In between starts, Brad throwing. And that's really a goal for skipper Bo Porter, to see if he can get Max Stassi behind the plate for a couple of games between now and the end of the season.
I think it has a great bearing on how you approach spring training next year.
It really could. Max has been out with a concussion, but doing a whole lot better. Trout looks, and it's ball 3. 3 balls, 1 strike to Mike Trout. He's walked 50 times in his last 46 games. That leads the majors during that period of time. And make it number 100 of the season for Trout. First American League player ever with 100 walks, 70 extra base hits, and 30 steals.
Paul Clemens has this happen a large amount of the time, where he will yank the fastball to the catcher's backhand side, just not finishing toward the plate.
Doug Brocail, Bo Porter watching as Clemens faces Josh Hamilton. Hamilton takes a look at it. It's ball 1 to Josh. 245, 20 homers, 67 runs batted in. In his last 32 games, he's hit .339, 1 for 5 in this series. So his average was .217, and he's brought that up to the current .245. Runner going. Big jump. Pagnozzi had no chance to get Trout, who stole for the 33rd time.
Trout was almost in the dust himself off mode by the time the ball got to second base. That's the kind of jump he had against Clemens.
And the Angels get their 75th steal. Trout with 33 of those. They are 10th in the American League in stealing bases. The shift puts Altuve out in right field and VR up the middle for Hamilton. Hamilton puts one in the air deep to center field. Barnes racing back up onto Tal's Hill. Oh, it gets off the hill and up against the wall as a run scores, and here comes the throw into VR. That'll be an RBI triple for Hamilton. Tremendous effort by Barnes, and he was up at the top of that hill. So difficult to be running full speed, go up that hill and maintain footing. He gave it a shot. Hamilton gets his 4th triple, and it's RBI number 68.
Brandon Barnes, like you say, everything he had to try to get to this ball. And once you hit that hill, you just lose the ability to keep your eyes in the same positioning. Very, very rough, and yet it looked like he got leather on it. But another one of those scenarios, much like the home runs allowed by Clemens on the season, just another long ball.
And now Mark Trumbo takes, and there's ball one to Trumbo. With 33 homers, he's fourth in the American League. He's driven in 95 with a .243 batting average, 1 hit in this series, and 2 runs batted in for Trumbo. That triple was hit about 425 feet at least by Hamilton. Been a home run in many ballparks. 1 ball, 1 strike to Trumbo. He really crushed that ball. Trumbo, with his 33 homers, has a new career high. Curveball missing, and it's a 2-ball, 1 strike count. Jason Castro still is not able to catch with continuing knee problems, and Will Porter would like to get him behind the plate at least one more time before the end of the year, but that is not a given at this point. Broken bat, and that one goes out of play. It's 2-2 to Trumbo.
We saw the walk to Mike Trout here in this first inning, and he's reached via the walk, as you say, 6 times here in the series already.
Yep.
But not a base hit from Mike Trout. I was looking through his logs throughout the course of the year. He had 1 series all year long against the Texas Rangers back in April in which he didn't have a hit. So the Astros actually could turn a pretty nice feat there if they can hold him without a hit. However, putting him on with the walks not helping.
High chop, slowly hit. Dominguez comes in. Quick throw, low. Carter with the stretch, and it's out number 3. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 left. Angels lead 1-0. Calm there, Fido. Calm down. Astros starting lineup. Jonathan Villar is the shortstop. Jose Altuve second base. Trevor Crowe right field. Brett Wallace DH. Matt Dominguez third base. Chris Carter first base. Mark Krause left field. Matt Pagnozzi catcher. Brandon Barnes center field.
Right-hander veteran Jerome Williams goes to the hill for Seattle, or make that for the Angels, excuse me. 31 years of age. He's 7-10 with a 40.81 ERA last time out. Beat Toronto in Toronto, working just 5 innings and allowed 6 earnings in that one. He also picked up a win his previous start against Tampa Bay. Defensively, behind Jerome Williams, who's allowed 22 dingers on the year, Hank Conger does the catching. Around the infield, it's Mark Trumbo, Howie Kendrick, Eric Ibar, and Andrew Romine, who made a great play last night. Defensively, Josh Hamilton in center. In the outfield, flanked by Cole Calhoun in right and J.B. Shuck in left.
Williams goes to work, and there's Jonathan Villar walking up on it. It's called strike 1. Villar's on an 8-game hitting streak, a career high for him. 288 as an Astros rookie. 1 homer, 8 runs batted in, 4 for 10 in the series. The Astros are seeing Williams for the 4th time this season. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Both corners on the infield drawn well in, and I think you have to do that with Villar and his ability to bunt.
On the curve, it goes to 1-2. Yes, he has displayed that ability. Or he can drop it down just in an ideal spot as a left-handed batter between the pitcher and third baseman, and with his speed, it's an easy reach for him if he does that. 2-2. Williams, 31 years old. He came up with the Giants. They traded him to the Cubs in 05. Then he moved along to Washington, pitched in Taiwan. And he has pretty good stuff. He's not somebody who would leap to mind when you talk about top pitchers on the Angels. Certainly last night's hurler, Jared Weaver, would come to mind for a lot of folks. Weaver won his 10th last night, but Williams has filled in capably. He worked in relief in April, and they needed him in the rotation. Bounces that breaking ball for a 3-ball, 2-strike count. Well, he's shooting for win number 8 of the year here today.
Pretty nice ability here by Villar, and this is what he's been showing, ability to lay off pitches that are out of the strike zone. He's fairly mature as a young hitter.
Slaps one to shortstop. Ibar, kind of a weird pickup there, and he gets it. He was rushing. Got caught with that backhand into his body a little bit. But it was no problem for Ibar to take care of out number one.
Yeah, the old backhand on the forehand side.
Yeah.
That still makes the play. And you see how a shortstop has to play VR, charging all the while.
Jose Altuve has sizzled in September. He is 5 for 8 with a homer and 3 runs batted in this series. Batting average up to .284, 5 homers, 52 runs batted in. Just a monstrous September for Altuve, a .441 batting average. He takes ball one up high, and he has 26 hits in September since he moved to that number 2 spot in the lineup again. That's in 13 games, averaging 2 hits per game. 2 hopper goes to Ibar, and it's out number 2.
And those numbers you mentioned for Altuve coming following a month of August that saw him hit just 200.
What a rebound.
And I would guess that if you asked Altuve, he might tell you that maybe he's altered something a little bit. But I think in reality, no changes made, just suddenly things clicked.
246 for Trevor Crowe, 1 homer, 12 runs batted in, 3 for 7 in this series for Trevor. This is the 11th consecutive game in which Bo Porter has filled out the lineup card with VR, Altuve, and Crowe in that order at the top of the lineup. Strike for Williams right there at the knees. Williams is 0-2 in his 3 starts against Bo Porter's club this season, but has a good ERA, 3.06 in those 3 games. Chop foul. He lost a 2-0 game in Anaheim to Bud Norris back on the 1st of June. Got a no decision here against Bud Norris, giving up 1 run in 6 1/3, and he lost 8-2 to Brad Peacock in Anaheim in mid-August, giving up 3 runs in 4 1/3. It's a liner over second into right center field. Crowe hustling around first, and he lights it up on the 0-2 pitch. Whacks it over Kendrick's head for a 2-out single for Trevor Crowe.
Great question as to how much has the way Trevor Crowe been playing lately factored into what he might be doing for Houston or somebody next year.
That is a good question. You know, to Bo Porter's credit, he has started Trevor Crowe in every game here in September. So really giving him a long look and a chance for him to establish himself for next year. Brett Wallace, the DH today. He smacks a line drive. That's just foul. Had some topspin on it, and it went just to the right of the right field line for strike 1.
I think we need Cyclops on this one. Isn't that what they call the viewing device in tennis?
It is.
Yeah, that was the little lob just outside the line.
Very elusive baseball down that right field line.
We'll get a dog to find that for us.
Yeah. Dogs are ruling the day here. So Wallace, who's the fantasy football commissioner on the Astros, catching some flack from Bo Porter before the game today.
For what?
He allowed a transaction that Bo felt should not have been allowed. No balls, 2 strikes. 228 for Wallace, 13 homers, 34 runs batted in, all in good-natured
Did
fun,
he tell the skip to keep his opinions to himself?
Well, Brett seems to be conducting his commissionership by committee. So he, it's probably going to come to a vote in the Senate or something, the way he samples opinion on whether transactions should be allowed or not.
It is a democracy.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Wallace is hitting .271 since the 16th of August. 6 doubles, 4 homers, 10 runs batted in the last month. It's got to be a little diversion. Swing and a miss there to pitch in the dirt. Conger throws him out, and in the first inning for Houston, it's no runs, a hit, and a man stranded. Dog day for Brett Wallace. 1-0 Angels.
Brandon Barnes do what he does best. sell out his body to try to make a play, nearly catching Josh Hamilton's triple. And before the game, I talked to Barnes about the Angels center fielder Mike Trout and how he does the same thing. You see him nearly kill himself to get a hit that ended up being a hit rule for Matt Dominguez. And Barnes said, I think it comes from having played football when I was younger. I'm going to sell myself out to make the play. And he said, that's why I like watching Mike Trout. He does the same thing, just sacrifices himself in order to make the play. And it's something where the play is much more important than the actual body. Let's send it back upstairs.
It's amazing these two men are still standing here in mid-September, the way they throw their bodies around. Thanks, Layla. Strike one to Cole Calhoun. Calhoun fouls that one back, and it's 0-2 to a .298 hitter with 7 homers, 27 runs batted in.
Yeah, I love all that stuff about the mentality. I've seen some guys, though, that didn't have ability, that had a great mentality and couldn't make the plays. So what you combine with these guys is both sides of the equation, and boy, do they have the abilities.
That's strike 3 on the curveball, and the first strikeout goes to Paul Clemens.
And when you talk great catches, well, Brandon Barnes has got to be on that list of guys. But Mike Trout, I mean, he'll make them all as well. These guys would be fun to watch just on their own with the highlight reels over the course of the year, and not a bad highlight reel right here. I mean, just all-out sellouts by these guys. What Layla's talking about, that body kind of comes secondary to the effort to help out the club.
Eric Ibar taps it foul. There's strike one on the shortstop with a .268 average, 6 homers, 53 runs batted in for Ibar. He had 3 hits Friday night. That's the 5th time he's had a 3-hit game this year. 7 doubles this month for Ibar. That's tied for 3rd in the majors and 2nd in the American League. That's bounced up there by Clemens, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Paul, in his last start here against Minnesota on September 2nd, had a blister problem. He threw 77 pitches. Went 3 2/3 innings, got a no decision, giving up 3 earned runs. And the Astros gave him extra time with that blister. There's a fly ball headed for Barnes territory in center. 2 outs. So with Clemens now having had this inactivity of 13 days between starts, the Astros do have a well-fortified bullpen to back him up if needed. Brett Oberholzer went 6 last night, and David Martinez the final 3. So the other relievers all have had a little extra rest. Hank Conger at .258 with 7 homers has driven in 20. Conger's hit .313 in his last 24 games. Clemens steals ball 1.
Conger is a free swinger, in particular from the left side of the plate, and he can drive the baseball.
Chris Iannetta homered both Friday night and last night in this series. Conger getting the call today. Looks at that pitch inside. Hank, 25 years old. He's worked the count to 2-0 here. He had only 18 at bats with the Angels last year. Played quite a bit in 2011 with 177 at bats, making 48 starts behind the dish that year. That's bouncing, and it's 3-0. Well, we talked about players establishing themselves for next year. That's what Paul is trying to do. 25-year-old right-hander from Columbia, South Carolina, a 7th-round pick of the Braves in 2008. He gets that in for a strike to make it 3-1. And earlier this season, Paul was pitching in long relief and stretched it out on several occasions. He went 5 1/3 innings in one relief outing at Oakland, his 2nd appearance of the year back in mid-April. He strikes out Conger. No, he doesn't. It's 3-2 now. It was a 3-1 pitch. Got to wait for strike 3 to arrive sometime.
They're going to stick with that rule this year. The change may come into effect next year.
Okay. Infield shifted around, and that one goes into the seats. The Orioles lead at Toronto. It's 3-1 Baltimore. They're in the bottom of the 5th inning with Miguel Gonzalez on the mound. Adam Lind hit his 21st bomb for the Jays. Marlins and Mets are tied 0-0 there in the 6th.
How do you think dogs react to heads up?
Dogs react in strange ways to a lot of different phrases.
And I think that could come into play today.
Yeah. By Altuve and on through into right field, so Conger reaches. Despite the defensive shift, he found a hole in it between Villar and Altuve for a 2-out single for Conger.
Hey, wind up plugging various areas where statistics say the ball will most often go, and then it's a crazy game. Sometimes the ball winds up right to the straightaway position.
Andrew Romine has hit in 11 of his last 15 games in which he's had an at bat. 242 for Romine. There's strike one. He's played the other infield positions as well. Has been at AAA Salt Lake much of the year. He's driven in 4 runs in his last 6 games, and in this series he's gone 3 for 5, driving in a couple. Romine also made that outstanding catch in left field last night. 1 ball, 1 strike. There are those who have followed the Angels who think that next year's third baseman could be Luis Jimenez. The Astros saw him earlier in the year. He had to leave a game September 7th with a right thumb contusion, as he has not played since then. But he could be the guy. He's been a good RBI man in the minors. 1 ball, 2 strikes. A lot of times you get to the final 2 weeks of the season, and the regular season does end 2 weeks from today, and there are a lot of players banged up on these non-contending teams. Managers just choose not to push the envelope with a player who's really been through the mill and is not 100% or anywhere close to that. That misses for Clemens, and it's a 2 ball, 2 strike count. Paul got the first 2 outs in the first inning, and then a walk, a steal, and a triple. Got the first 2 outs here in the second. Little tap brings Clemens over, and he'll tag him. To end the top of the second with no runs a hit and a man stranded. 1-0 Angels.
Game Live enhances your Astros experience via computer, smartphone, or tablet. Get in-depth stats and join in on the social buzz. In-game Live only on csnhouston.com.
Well, the Mr. and Mrs. Castro pairing has hit a home run with those fans, of course. Jason and Maris giving away, they've given away thousands of books in this area as a part of their foundation. And their latest effort came just a few days ago as they visited a local school and presented that school with many books that should help along the way with those kids' education. Matt Dominguez grounds out, and that's out number 1 on 1 pitch.
Yeah, it's really nice to see the involvement in the community, and clearly the Castros are continuing in that endeavor, and hopefully the kids do enjoy things as much as it appears that the Castros enjoy giving.
Chris Carter, the batter, 221 is his average. He has 27 homers. He has 77 runs batted in. Leading the club in both those departments. There's strike 1 to Chris. His 27 homers, the most by an Astro since Lance Berkman hit 29 and Carlos Lee hit 28 in 08. Slider there works for Williams for strike 2. Jerome Williams was born in Hawaii. Just off the corner. That makes it a 1 ball, 2 strike count. He had an 8-game losing streak this year from June 22nd through August 21st.
Yeah, his stuff is good too. A little sinker close on Carter.
Or a guy like Williams can really be valuable on a club. May not be producing world-class numbers, but he can come out of the bullpen and enter the rotation as he's done and hold things together. That's his second strikeout of the day. Carter hit a 2-run homer off him for the Astros runs in that 2-0 win over Williams for Bud Norris back on the 1st of June. This time Williams gets him.
Well, pitching staffs around the major leagues, contrary to what some people believe, are not made up of 5 Clayton Kershaws on every good staff. You have to fill it out with guys that can contribute, and I think Jerome Williams fits in that category.
Sure does, Ash. Now Mark Krause. Krause is in left field. Krause apparently was the man who was engaged in the wheeling and dealing in the Astros Fantasy Football League today. He was trying to, he claimed a player on waivers just to block another guy from getting him, even though he had no intention of keeping him on his team. And that's where Commissioner Brett Wallace had to step in.
Well, I want to know, was it allowed or not?
I think he allowed it for a while until he sampled opinion. Brett seems to be, according to his explanation of it, he's kind of a consensus taker.
Are there consequences to that move taken by Mr. Krause?
Well, he walked away before we could ask if there would be disciplinary measures taken on Mr. Krause. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I mean, you should only have so many claims a year. Or
yeah.
Something to limit that sort of chicanery.
I would think a 2-week suspension would be warranted for playing waiver games. What do you think, Ash?
Waiver games. There's a movie for you. Coming out in book form here this fall.
Pagnozzi's on deck. Those are Mark Krause's numbers as we get down to the final 2 weeks of the season. After today, every game the Astros are playing will be against a club that's at least right now in contention for a playoff spot. We're not sure if the Yankees will be by the time they get here for those final 3 games of the season. And Bo Porter was asked about that before the game, and he really likes the fact that his young players, and he pointed to that series in Oakland when you and Jeff Blum did those games, and how the Oakland A's, he said, they check their egos at the door. That's what these pennant contending teams do. They don't care who gets the RBI. They just want to get the run home, or who gets the win, or who gets the save. It's all about winning. 2-2, and he thinks the Astros young players could benefit from watching that from their opponents starting tomorrow night for the final 2 weeks of the season.
I think it's what you see with good clubs down the stretch, although the Oakland A's are a little bit unique. They're not a club that's led by 1 or 2 guys that dominate the order and wind up with big awards at the end of the season in Major League Baseball. Instead, they're kind of a group that has to pull together and do the small things.
They're playing the Rangers at 2:05. That's in about 15 minutes they get underway. That's in the air to right field, and it's deep to right field. Calhoun watching this one go for Mark Krause. And Krause has hit number 4 to tie this game at 1. That's 13 runs batted in now for Mark Krause. High soaring mortar shot into the right field seats.
I don't know that I've ever seen a mortar shot go quite this high. But Mark Krause has had his moments where he has done a little flexation here with the club.
This is no waiver wire game here. This is a legitimate high shot into the right field seats.
I think we're going to see Wally walk over and say, okay, you got the deal. Go ahead.
Matt Pagnozzi looks at strike 1. 143 is his average. With that one big swing, Krause has tied it. This is the 6th start for Matt Pagnozzi since he was acquired in a trade from the Atlanta Braves organization. No balls, 2 strikes. That's 23 homers allowed by Williams now in 153 innings. The way Calhoun went back for it, it looked as if he thought he might have a shot at it for a while there. He almost climbed into the seats last night to try to grab one. It's a 1 ball, 2 strike count.
Either that or there were some nachos in the front row.
Pagnozzi 2 for 14. He has really received the ball well. It's been impressive the way he and Cody Clark have stepped in here in September and done a good job of calling games and receiving. And Clark has been a demon at throwing out runners. Huh?
Yeah, I think the two guys are similar defensively. Cody Clark has shown that ability with the running game.
Little tap goes out to Ibar's left. And after the Krause homer, Pagnozzi rolls out. That makes it 1-1 on the Krause home run after 2.
Astros season tickets are on sale now. Lock in your seats now by calling 1-877-9-ASTROS. And with Mike Trout up, continuing the conversation I had with Brandon Barnes about the Angels outfielder, Barnes, I asked him about what he thought when sabermetricians say that Mike Trout is having a very down year in the defensive runs saved category. In fact, so much so that he's in the lower third of major leaguers. Barnes says that's pretty crazy. You see what he does every day. You see the quality catches he makes. He is absolutely worth his weight in gold when it comes to defense. Bill and Alan, your thoughts?
Yeah, we're going to have to talk about that. J.B. Shuck, the batter. We were looking at numbers before the game. There's strike 1 on Shuck. And defensive runs saved. All right, understand the concept. There still has to be somebody quantifying this, watching the game, deciding how many runs were saved by a particular play. It's easy if Mike Trout goes over the center field wall and steals a grand slam home run to say that he saved 4 runs. Beyond that, it gets a little murky, doesn't it?
And what would have followed in the inning and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Pure subjectivity is my response. And I guess the person that I would defer to in being subjective would be the manager, in this case Mike Scioscia for the Angels, and what he thinks this year versus last year for Mike Trout defensively. I cannot imagine that things have dropped off considerably for Trout.
Yeah, the numbers indicate, as Layla said, that they have dropped off, and that's a strikeout, and that's number 2. But you know, it's a noble idea to have these defensive metrics to try to measure players and how they contribute in that regard. So let's look at numbers. Run saved, plus 15 is a Gold Glove caliber, plus 10 great. These are for outfielders, plus 5 above average, minus 5 below average. So Mike Trout in 2013 apparently has slipped quite a bit according to the numbers we were seeing. Howie Kendrick takes strike 1. And we'll get to that in a little while. But you know, it's very difficult to put a number out there and feel that you totally believe in it, Ash, unless we're misunderstanding some things about defensive metrics.
Yeah, defensive metrics for me, I will take with a grain of salt, and I don't put salt on my food.
Ooh. So you're not going to have hardened arteries.
I'm hoping that's the case. Yeah, I just have a real hard time. I want to know who is judging and under what circumstances, and is everything really equal, and things never are.
Good pitch there. 1-2 to Kendrick.
Yeah, it's difficult for me to accept those types of numbers.
Andrelton Simmons has been absolutely amazing in the defensive metrics category this year, the Atlanta Braves shortstop. People are raving about it.
I think it's semi-easy to watch a shortstop and a guy that just makes all the routine plays and so many great plays, and you add it up and just your eye says this guy is better than the other guys you watch around Major League Baseball. Maybe the same for a center fielder, and I think you can talk about Brandon Barnes and what he's done. But it's really hard to compare straight up with numbers to the other players.
VR backhand, sets up, fires, and gets him. What a beauty.
Now there's a very nice play by VR on the backhand side, planting the foot and making a good accurate throw. Haven't seen a lot of that to this point for Jonathan. Nice job with the footwork, and I think that's going to be a big key.
Was he a little more deliberate that time in making the transfer? We'll get back to that later. Defensive runs saved, plus 21 for Trout in 2012, minus 8 in 2013. Brandon Barnes, plus 5 in 2013, same as in 2012. How do we interpret these numbers? That's the question.
Again, I'm going to turn my attention to Mike Scioscia. and find out, and maybe the coaches with the Angels. Layla, did you have a chat with Mike Scioscia?
Bo Porter was talking at the same time Mike Scioscia was, I believe.
I
was
see.
in the Bo Porter press conference.
Well, can't they stagger their press conferences for your benefit and those of others?
It was a very important question that you had going on.
You know, as much as I would like to think that things revolve around me, I don't know that that's always.
Well, they do,
happenstance.
regardless of what you may think. But yeah, there's the guy I would like to talk to and just say, you know, here's what the numbers are saying this year. What do your eyes say?
Watching Trout has been really enjoyable down through the last couple of years as he's sailed about rib cage high over these outfield walls and snagged balls that would have been homers. He's been phenomenal that way. 1 and 2.
We've gotten word that Mike Scioscia has been quoted in an article recently saying that basically the numbers that have dropped this year are nonsense, that there has been no change in the defensive ability of Mike Trout. Now, that could be manager speak, granted, but I have a feeling he's being much more real than the people on the other side.
Do you think we'll have to go over to the other side to explain these defensive metrics?
I don't even know where the other side is, Brownie. Can you get there from here?
No. It's not going to be happening. Especially if it involves travel on US 290.
Ooh.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
Getting home at night has been a little rough.
Big sports day in Houston with Major League Baseball and the NFL both staging games at the same time. The highways will be busy after this one. That's whacked on a line deep to center field. Barnes back. Barnes runs right into that catch for out number 3. A hard hit liner, keeping the score at 1-1.
27th is the final big and bright Friday night. That's of the entire season. Don't forget to stick around after the Astros-Yankee game for the best fireworks show in town, presented by Marathon Oil. And it's featuring top songs of this year, 2013. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com for your tickets.
That'll be a much anticipated weekend. These dogs might not be thinking about anything that far ahead.
Oh, I think they're anticipating.
Do you? A little pat on the head, rub on the neck is fine for now. But yeah, the Yankees coming in, and then the Yankees will open the season here next year. Brandon Barnes leads it off in the home 3rd inning.
You think that's right for the Yankees to have back-to-back series here?
Not really. Separated by 6 months. Okay, different story. It's Paul 1. Barnes with 7 homers has driven in 40.
Wonder if they'll stay over.
They probably will stay over, which will really help the hotel business. Sharply hit and on through into left field. Barnes had a 2-hit game Friday night, scored a couple, and now it could be a spark here for a scoring rally in the 3rd. Well hit ball. Brandon and his wife gave their testimony last night at Faith and Family Night after the game.
It's a good swing, and he does it against a right-hand pitcher, and that's where the difficulties have primarily been for Brandon with the bat in his hand this year. So every time he has success or has even good swings against the righties, I view that as a big positive.
Jonathan Villar bats now with the 3rd baseman Romine in tight. He slapped a ground ball to shortstop in the 1st. Williams looking over.
The classic move that I have never seen have a result other than what we just saw right there.
Never?
Never. I have never seen anything come from that play.
That's bunted out to 3rd. Romine going to 2nd, gets the force there to Ibar. And it's out number 1. Well played by Romine.
He's a good-looking defensive player down at 3rd base. Don't know that that's the position that the Angels or anybody else might see him in as a major leaguer for years, but good-looking play. A lot of guys become timid about that close bang-bang play on the lead runner.
Mike Scioscia came out of the dugout and had a little conversation with home plate umpire Tim Timmons about something. Not sure what that could be about.
I would take my guess, if we can glance back at the bunt. What VR does is he comes out of the box. Okay. And on one bunt like that in the Seattle series, I believe, he was out of the box.
That's right. Jose Altuve grounded to short earlier. So if he's up in front of the box, he's out.
What he does is he crosses over, and that back leg, the foot, steps out of the box before he's even bunting the ball, and there he is. And that's illegal. And I'm sure that's what Mike Scioscia was having his comments about.
Williams holding the ball a long time before he throws. Well, for a bunter, you can understand why. It would be just a tiny edge to try to get to that ball a little bit quicker and get out of the box just a fraction of a second earlier. Maybe beat the play.
I imagine it's unconsidered on the part of VR at this point, but I think he's going to have to consider it. You can cross over, just don't start crossing beyond the box.
Snap throw to first, diving back into the back of the bag. VR. Conger's throw. Clark with words for VR.
I like the aggressive nature of the play here. And look at the size of the secondary lead by VR. If you make a good throw there and allow your first baseman Trumbo back into the bag by putting that throw knee high or above, you just might get the out.
Yeah, he slipped a little bit getting back to first.
Part of that slipping can come from a throw that's down shoe top high, and you're trying to make that adjustment. If you just give him a shot with a throw up a bit. Oh, and you're talking about VR, and yes, and that's quite likely on that play.
He's taking a late lead now with this 1-1 count to Altuve. He shoots one up the right field line by the diving Trumbo. It kicks out, and Calhoun plays it back in toward the infield. But VR gets to third on the single by Altuve. They worked that play well.
Altuve wears number 27. He's just picked up hit number 27 here in the month of September. And you could see him adjust and shoot that way. He was going to try to find the hole. Instead, he found the gap between first baseman and bag.
You know what we're seeing here is these two guys working so well in concert with each other here in September. That's been quite a 1-2 punch, VR and Altuve. And VR had thoughts about stealing the base, and that's important. And he's done it 17 times. But the other way of getting him over to third base is what we just saw, Altuve hitting the ball to right field. He doesn't have to steal.
I think a lot of times you talk about trying to have guys that work in concert at the top of the order, and in reality you have guys that just perform back to back. But you get the feeling that these two guys are actually working in concert, and it's working for Jose Altuve.
Trevor Crowe has runners at first and third, one out. VR comes up the line. Crowe showing bunt, and he missed a bunt try for strike one.
Altuve here in the month of September. We talk about the 27 hits. Look at where he's hit them. How are you going to play defensively against a guy that does this all over the place? The doubles are all over the field. Of course, just one dinger in that span, but that's a Jose Altuve that you're not going to get for every month out of the season. You're not going to get a guy hitting 440. But at his best, this is what it looks like.
It's hard to beat that kind of a spray chart. The only way to beat that would be to place those dots in the seats, right?
Yeah, that does trump. You come up with 27 home runs in the month of September. You're on your way to a pretty good year.
That might get you player of the month.
If not, at least maybe a couple of player of the weeks.
At least maybe a supply of dog biscuits. Swing and a miss there by Crowe. 0-2. We talk about 1 and 2 hitters in concert with each other. You think back about these some of the top leadoff guys, the Ricky Hendersons of the world, and the guys who hit second behind him, Lou Brock, I think John Kessinger hit second for a long time. And it really can be something to watch. Boy, there's a chemistry there that's over the course of a long baseball season. Fans can really enjoy that type of work.
Well, I think a big part of what goes in that working in concert is if you've got a leadoff guy, and maybe VR can be this guy, we'll see, time will tell, that steals a load of bases, that creates things going on that otherwise wouldn't while on the base paths. It requires a two-hitter that can take some pitches. Now, we all know VR doesn't walk, but he does take pitches. He's very confident hitting with 2 strikes. So I think the two go hand in hand very nicely with these guys.
Maury Wills and Jim Gilliam.
There you go. That was my childhood.
Oh. Chop comes up. Well, Wills would get on by whatever method, and he'd steal often, but Gilliam would take a pitch, as you suggested, or he'd hit a ground ball after Wills stole second to get him to third. It was just a thing of beauty to watch those two guys work together.
Now, Ricky Henderson played with a number of clubs. Do you have a two-hitter that you think of automatically as the guy hitting behind Ricky Henderson?
I can't think of anybody.
And I'm the same way. So he kind of was that lone star, the lone wolf out there making it happen.
Inside to Crow.
But I think, and you make a great point, Jim Gilliam probably played a larger role in the success Maury Wills had with the Dodgers than people might originally think.
Fred Wallace on deck. And Crow, when he tried to put down that bunt on the first pitch, you can see what's going through his mind here, Ash. If he can get VR in from third, that gives the Astros the lead. He wants to stay out of hitting into a double play here. But now it's a battle for contact here at 1 and 2 in the count.
You know, and I think of Trevor Crow and the saying out there that go out and play well. Somebody's watching you, and it may not be the Astros for next year.
Double play ball, Ibar to Kendrick, and on over to Trumbo. It's no runs, 2 hits, and a man left, and it's 1-1 after 3.
Is brought to you by MD Anderson, making cancer history. September 15th, 1995. St. Louis Cardinals shortstop Ozzie Smith takes part in the 1,554th double play of his career to set a new career record for double plays by a shortstop. The Wizard of Oz ends his career with 1,590 double plays and 8,375 career assists. Double play record has since been broken by Ozzie Smith, but the Wizard of Oz was just flat unbelievable to watch day in, day out.
Josh Hamilton puts one in the air, and it goes out to right center field. That's caught by Trevor Crow for out number 1.
If you didn't get that opportunity to see Ozzie Smith play, he could do it from all angles. And he didn't possess a big throwing arm. You see, quick release and just get it on the money. And that's kind of what he did. Acrobatic, nobody more so. He could just make every play that this game ever required. He could be a little fancy, but he didn't mess up in doing so. Some kind of terrific player.
Mark Trumbo, the batter. Strike 1 to Trumbo. He grounded out to third earlier.
You know, and all the accolades about Ozzie Smith, I firmly believe. And yet, I got a chance to see Omar Vizquel play as well, and I don't know which one was more impressive.
Trumbo on the curveball falls behind 0-2, and now the folks who have watched Andrelton Simmons claim that he is in that same league.
Isn't that something? Youngster with the Atlanta Braves. Why are the Braves so good this year? Maybe he's a huge part of it.
Well, that is the factor that's being discussed in articles on talk shows about his influence on the Braves. This fly ball heads for the right field corner. So does Trevor Crow. Coming in a little bit now. 2 outs. The Braves, of course, are coasting right now, but who's going to get the best record in the National League? Atlanta has an 89-59 record, and that's the best right now. It's 3 games better than Pittsburgh, St. Louis, and Los Angeles. Home field advantage can really be meaningful in the playoffs.
Wouldn't you love to be saying of the Astros sometime in the near future that Jonathan VR and Matt Dominguez and others are a key reason why they've turned the corner in a big way.
Sure. Cole Calhoun struck out looking earlier. That's strike one. Well, these next 2 weeks, the Astros can really look at themselves as a measuring stick for where they'd like to be when they play these contending clubs. Starting tomorrow night with the Reds coming in for the opener of a 3-game series. Rolled out to second. Altuve makes it a 1-2-3 6-pitch inning, and in the middle of the 4th inning, it's 1-1.
Tied at 1. The video game that puts you in the owner's suite is now available for free on iPhone and iPad. Build your stadium and make the decisions to guide your team to the World Series. Download MLB Ballpark Empire free today. Data and usage rates may apply. Bill and Allen.
Thanks, Layla. Good day for the dogs to come out and enjoy a nice air-conditioned ball game. A couple of them there being clutched tightly.
They're big baseball fans.
Brett Wallace struck out in the 1st inning, and the commissioner takes ball 1. It's 2 balls, no strikes to Brett. He's at .241 against the Angels this season. We have pitching matchups for the Reds series. Eric Bedard starts it off for the Astros tomorrow night, and Johnny Cueto will come off the disabled list to pitch for the Reds. He's been out with a rib cage injury. Jordan Lyles opposes Mike Leake Tuesday night. Both of those are 7:10 starts, and another 7:10 ball game comes up Wednesday. Brad Peacock and Greg Reynolds. 2 balls, 1 strike. After the series for the Reds here, they play the Pirates, and they have 2 series remaining with Pittsburgh. So that gives a lot of hope for the Cardinals fans that they could benefit from the Reds and Pirates playing each other 6 more times. Foul ball, 2-2. Cardinals with the favorable schedule then among those 3, and St. Louis and Pittsburgh are currently tied for the lead in the NL Central. Cincinnati 2.5 back. This is going to be a vitally important series for the Reds starting tomorrow night here.
The way I look at it, Cardinals fans always have hope. That St. Louis team is just always a contending club.
Isn't it though? 3-2.
That was a close pitch taken by the commish.
And commissioners can count on favorable rulings. This one goes to center field. Hamilton in. And that's out number 1. Josh hasn't played a whole lot of center field with the Angels. Astros rookie pitchers have thrown 389 innings this season, but the Cardinals have had a lot of work from rookie pitchers as well. You're right about their organization. Matt Dominguez comes up next. He grounded out earlier. Boy, they've worked rookies into that ball club so well over the last few years, allowing an Albert Pujols to leave, and now do you hear much talk about him in St. Louis anymore?
I have a feeling it's not crying that they don't have him anymore.
Well, especially with the contract he wound up getting from the Angels. That one hit Matt Dominguez. Maybe the left rib cage area. Head athletic trainer Nate Lucero comes out. 4th hit batsman of the year for Williams.
Where did this hit? Did this hit hand, arm, elbow?
Oh, elbow.
Yeah, right on that left elbow area.
Boy.
And you can understand why. And then it looked like it probably deflected and got some more body. But you can understand why guys wear those elbow pads. But Matt Dominguez, one of the tough guys, taking it and said, "I'm ready to go."
Looks like it caught some bone. Astros have had base runners in every inning so far. This one the painful way. He reaches with one out for Chris Carter. Carter struck out in the second inning. The Astros set a new American League strikeout record last night. They have 2 strikeouts in this game today, 1,395 for the year. Bouncer third, Romine to second, and then Kendrick on to first for a 5-4-3 double play to end the 4th inning with the score 1-1.
Who broke Ozzie Smith's record for career double plays turned as a shortstop? Wow, look at that play. That was amazing, and we may or may not have mentioned the name of this individual moments ago. See the looping throw? That's what Ozzie did. People say you have to have a shotgun as a shortstop, but this guy, this gymnast, did it without the shotgun arm.
Cal Ripken Jr. Omar Vizquel. Ding, 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 ding.
I'm going to say that with the 2 names, you probably selected the winner.
We'll go with Vizquel. Eric Ibar leads it off in a 1-1 game in the 5th. He hit a fly ball to center field in the 2nd. Congratulations to the Quad Cities River Bandits. They won a championship last night. There's strike one. One of 2 championships for Astros minor league clubs. Tony Kemp had 3 hits. Rico Reese hit his 3rd postseason homer. And Quad Cities beat South Bend 4-2 to sweep that best-of-5 series. Josh Hader had quite a game as a left-handed starter. There's a fly ball into right center field for a hit. Ibar leading off the 5th inning with a single. Hit number 3 for the Angels.
New names, same results when you keep talking about the success on the minor league level for the organization.
So they swept their Midwest League Championship Series in front of 3,607 at Modern Woodmen Park last night. Hank Conger singled to right field in the 2nd inning. Hader struck out 8 in 7 shutout innings. So River Bandits won their 6th title in Quad Cities franchise history, 2nd in 3 years. Quad Cities along the way, including the playoff series, won its final 8 series of the year. And Hader is the left-hander the Astros got in the Baltimore Orioles trade for Bud Norris. Conger takes a look at it, and it's ball 1. That's quite a time for those young guys. Rico Reese, a 3rd baseman who's very highly regarded in the Astros system, finishing the season very strongly. One ball, no strikes for Paul Clemens. He's thrown 62 pitches in this game. And the Tri-City Valley Cats earlier won the New York Penn League title, so that's 2 championships for the Astros organization. Throw goes over to first. You know, these final 2 weeks of the season, this is what's great about being a dyed-in-the-wool baseball fan. You follow the sport for what, 5.5 months. It comes down to the final 2 weeks. It really makes all that time you've invested in it worthwhile as you follow these teams and wondered how it's going to play out. Now you get to see it here these final couple weeks. Who's going to claim these playoff spots? Who will win a division title? Who will get a wild card berth? And that's what it shapes up as in the National League Central, with 3 teams seemingly headed for playoff spots, and only one will be getting that division champion spot. 2 balls, no strikes. The other 2 will play each other in a 1-game wild card playoff. Shift is on for Conger. Conger hits one through that shift into right field. Ibar will head for 3rd base, and it'll be 1st and 3rd for the Halos with nobody out on the single by Conger. That's twice he's gone through that shift for hits.
Really
now
like
our AT&T tweet of the game, Ash, the Quad City River Bandits celebrating their Midwest League Championship. This was last night, and there's the dousing and the gathering of the Midwest League champions. Special time.
Oh, we've seen a couple of photos, this one included, that show these guys on the minor league level in their championships, and you just will not see more excitement anywhere in all of professional sports, any level of sports. They are all in.
Andrew Romine, the batter. Third baseman Dominguez in tight as the throw goes over to first.
I was about to say, Hank Conger from the left side of the plate, I like what I see. I am not exactly sure what's going on in terms of playing every day for the Angels, but as a hitter, as a catcher, good looking swinger of the bat.
That's in the air to left field, and it backs up Krause. Krause all the way in front of the wall, makes the catch on the warning track. Here's the tag at third. Ibar scoring. 2-1 Halos. And there's the play at first base. How about that?
Well, Conger went right down just shy of second base. And alertly, Krause and company come back toward the bag at first and get the double play. That's an odd play.
It certainly is for the trailing runner to get doubled off.
Easy play for Ibar to score on. So what do you try to do? Now VR, that aggressiveness, and that's where you really get it.
7-6-3 on the double play there. As Conger is thrown out at first. J.B. Shuck, the batter, he's 0 for 2. Paul Clemens with a fist pump on that one. This one's a shot, and Barnes is pursuing it for out number 3. 1 run on 2 hits. We look back at the unusual double play from Krause to VR to Carter. Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. It's 2-1. The Angels leading on an unusual. It was a sacrifice fly hit by Romine, but also a double play. Normally the batter does not get an RBI when he grounds into a double play, but this is a fly ball double play, so a different category. So Romine got his 6th RBI of the year, and the double play went from 7 to 6 to 3. Mark Krause leading it off. He homered in the 2nd inning to create a 1-1 tie, and he started that double play. Each club with 4 hits and no errors, and 2 men left on base. Jerome Williams runs the sinker away for ball 1.
You know, and I think you can credit Krause for starting the double play because he threw the ball to the right person, cutoff man back towards second base. But it was really that aggressiveness again by Jonathan VR that makes the double play.
Yeah, and it's a good point. 2 balls, no strikes. It had to be just a hard throw right on the money there to double off Conger. I don't think a runner at first usually would expect a throw like that if he's a step or 2 from the bag going back on a play like that. But it's hard to find an excuse for getting doubled off first on a fly ball to the warning track in left field.
I think at the same time, if you're Mike Scioscia, you want to comment to Hank Conger, can't ever let that happen again.
Ground ball, and it's backhanded. Romine makes the long throw. Round number 1. Let's see it again.
Romine, by the way, is pretty smooth down there at third base.
Yes.
Now here you go. You concede the tag and score from third base and just get it back into your cutoff man. But there's no concession there at all by Jonathan VR. He was thinking firing back to first immediately, and that's what gets it.
Yep.
And I'm not sure why Chris Carter's tagging, because all that's required right there is a stretch and a grab.
Conger not sliding when he went back in. Now Pagnazzi looks at ball 1. Pagnazzi grounded out in the 2nd inning. The Orioles continued to lead at Toronto. It's 3-1 in the middle of the 8th inning. In the air, and the first baseman Trumbo goes for it. Conger is there. Conger makes it 2 outs.
See, did Carter actually apply a tag? I don't know. He may not have.
His foot was on the base.
Again, that's the only part that's required. And on a play that close setting up, you probably would like to see a stretch.
So 2 outs now, and it's Barnes batting. Barnes singled to left field in the 3rd inning. Miguel Gonzalez started that game for Baltimore. He went 5 1/3 today before Buck Showalter turned to the bullpen. Mark Burley got the call for Toronto. That pitch did not move back to the outside corner, stayed outside for ball 1. So the Orioles are really under the gun now as they try to make it into the playoffs again. 1 ball, 1 strike. Starting the day, Baltimore trailed by 3.5 in the wild card race. Jared Weaver, the winner last night. That's the 8th straight year he has been in double figures in wins. Only Nolan Ryan among all Angel pitchers has done that. He went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs.
Not sure how he's doing it with a fastball that's recording about 86 to 88 miles an hour.
Yeah, we were kind of dazzled by that last night. It's a shot on the ground and underneath the legs of Ibar. He put his glove down, got some leather on it, but it'll have to be an error as Barnes reaches on the misplay by Ibar. And it is his 14th of the year.
Sharply hit ball, but right at the shortstop. And again, a good at bat for Brandon Barnes against a right-hander. You chalk him up every time.
Is he maybe pulling up a little bit on that?
Yeah, it looked like it to me, and back on his heels a bit. He kind of got caught for some reason, a guy who generally is a very sure-handed shortstop.
A 2-out error. Well, the old saying, a 2-out shortstop. Those are the guys who don't make those 2-out errors. Jonathan Villar bats. He's 0 for 2. That's strike 1.
It's a very nice sinker that is just allowed to dart toward the outside edge.
Did you see the final out in that Kansas City-Detroit game last night?
Tag at the plate.
Oh, boy.
Facial, full facial.
Salvador Perez, the young Kansas City catcher, slapping that tag on Prince Fielder, and the Royals won it by 1. They're in the bottom of the 8th now in Detroit, and it's now a 2-2 ball game.
Kansas City has persisted in their good baseball this year.
They're 78 and 70. They also are 3.5 out in the wild card race, tied with Baltimore. Let's take a look at that play at the plate. Great relay from Escobar, the shortstop here.
Boy, you have to feel like it's all getting away from you here for the moment. Gordon in left field is a very good left fielder. Yeah, that may not be the one I was referring to with the full facial, but wow, what a way to win a ball game.
But for a catcher with all that gear on, and then handling a tough throw like that, a short hop throw, reaching out to his left and then having to dive across to the right, that is quite a play for a catcher. Of course, you used to do that all the time.
I had those dreams on occasions.
Dribbler goes foul, still 2-2.
Another peek from a different angle. Look at this aggressive throw from shortstop. Yeah, it's really well done for the catcher. Good, strong, aggressive throw from the cutoff man, your shortstop. Everything done right, but it still winds up as a tough play at home plate.
And Jim Leland was interviewed after the game and asked if he had thought about pinch running for Prince Fielder. He said, "We don't pinch run for Prince."
Well, that leaves no doubt as to what's going to happen in the future.
Ibar back to his right, throwing across his body, and safe at first. VR extends his hitting streak to 9 games with the infield single. Ibar unable to catch him at first, and now it's 2 men on with 2 outs.
You know, there's an aspect to the game offensively for Jonathan VR that he doesn't have to necessarily learn, and that is, as a left-hand hitter, put it on the ground, keep it out of the air, and put it on the ground on the left side if you can. He does it quite a bit, and he's going to beat this the majority of the time. Really good in this regard. Well, most of the time when you have a youngster come up who might switch hit or at least hits left-handed, you wind up with that inability to keep the ball down on the ground on the left side. A lot of pop flies and fly balls, and therefore the batting average suffers. But for VR, it's been a plus part of his game.
It's 5 hits for the Astros, and here's Altuve, 1 for 2. Trying to make that 2-out error really sting the Angels. Breaking pitch, good for strike 1. Padres lead the Braves 4-0. They're in the top of the 7th inning in Atlanta. Julio Teheran returning to the rotation for the Braves. Chase Headley hit his 13th homer. Altuve checked his swing. The appeal went out to Mike Winters at first. It's 1-1. Williams is 4-2 on the road with a 4.62 ERA this year. Up the middle, and that will trickle behind second base. Here's a throw from Kendrick. Big time play by Kendrick to save the inning for the Angels, and it's no runs a hit, 2 men stranded with an error in the inning as well. 2-1 Angels.
Chevy Hometown Kids every Saturday morning at 9:30 on CSN. Chevy Hometown Kids, where it's not about the score but the experience. We told you earlier that it is indeed Dog Day at Minute Maid Park, joined by a fellow CSN coworker, Kay Hill, and your lovely boxer, Benjin. He is from Lone Star Boxer Rescue. What is the importance of having a boxer rescue to get dogs like Benjin out here?
Well, actually, a lot of the animal rescue groups there's a lot of breed rescue. There are other kinds, there are Winnie Dog, Pug Rescue, they're over here today. We work with the local animal shelters to pull these specific breeds, and then people come to us to adopt this dog. There's actually 2 boxer rescue groups in Houston. There's that many boxers in need. But if you're looking for something other than a boxer, there's plenty of the breed rescue as well.
Well, Benjin seems to be having a good time in his Astros Hunter Pence jersey checking out the game. We know they're a great breed. What all are you guys doing to help them out?
Well, what we do is we'll bring them in and we take them for vet care. So, I would encourage people to, if you're not looking to adopt today but you want to help, donations are always helpful because money goes for vet care. All rescue groups, that's the biggest cost is vet care. We get discounts, but we do still have to pay for that. So we'll do fundraisers. Matter of fact, I've got a fundraiser coming up. It's a wine walk with Houston Boxer Rescue October 12th. So if you look up HoustonBoxerRescue.com, I'm pouring wine. Come by and see me.
And what do you think of the Astros having a dog day today?
I am thrilled. Actually, they've had it several years, and I'm always working. And so this year I was off. I said, I'm going to bring him out here, and here we are. So I'm glad to be here.
It's a good time, Kay. Thank you for the time. Lots of dogs having a good time. I'm going to hang out with these guys for the rest of the game.
And watch a Mike Trout grounding into a double play. That doesn't happen all that often. Very slick work by VR, Altuve, and on over to Chris Carter for the 6-4-3 double play after the Kendrick single.
You better not miss a beat defensively if you're going to get Mike Trout, and that was perfectly done. Perfectly set up. You have to add the ground ball near the bag, but there's not a flaw you can find in there.
That's the 8th time this year Trout has been doubled up on a ground ball. Smile for VR as the shift is on for Hamilton. Hamilton with an RBI triple in 2 trips. And he smashes that one foul for strike 1. Clemens needed only 6 pitches in the 4th inning and 8 in the 5th inning. But he's at 70 for the ball game now. And after that last start was scratched for him with that blister on the middle finger of his pitching hand, staying in quite well in this one. Hamilton fouls that one away, and it's no balls, 2 strikes. Hamilton has tremendous career numbers here at Minute Maid Park.
Well, he's a different looking hitter against right-hand pitching than against left, although he's had his struggles at times even against the righties this year. It's been a rough year.
Trying to salvage something here at the end of the season. Inside, and it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count.
If Lumberjacks make good hitters, then I don't think I'd pitch to this guy.
His career average at Minute Maid Park coming into this game was 341. Pitch makes it 2 balls, 2 strikes. That Kansas City Detroit game now goes to the 9th, 3-2 Tigers, with Max Scherzer shooting for win number 20 of the season tonight. He went 7, gave up 1 run today, rather, walking 1 and fanning 12. Ground ball backhanded. Dominguez sets up and fires across to Carter for a good play to get Hamilton. That's an 8-pitch inning, and in the middle of the 6th inning, it's 2-1 Angels.
Astros Trivia is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer, and the answer to that question, who as a shortstop has turned the most double plays of all time, passing Ozzie Smith, it would be Omar Vizquel, 1,734. Watch this guy play. I mean, it's Ozzie Smith. It's the same player. Just great athletic skills, not much of a throwing arm, but wow, could he do it all and anticipate as good as they came.
Trevor Crowe, the batter, 2-1 game. The Angels lead it. There's a strike on the inside corner to Crowe, who's 1 for 2. That Detroit Kansas City game we mentioned in the 9th inning, and Scherzer bidding for his 20th win, but he won't get it because the lead evaporated after he left the game. A little chop in front of the plate for Conger. Conger makes the play on to Trumbo for out number 1. Well, Scherzer did his job, but a guy who's been backed by tremendous run support this year left with a 2-1 lead, and then Drew Smiley gave up a run in the 8th inning as Kansas City tied it at that point.
We're watching all the athletic plays from shortstop from Ozzie Smith and Omar Vizquel. Not bad right here from Hank Conger.
Got out from behind the plate, made that throw on the run. Brett Wallace is struck out and fly to center field. Padres and Braves just underway, no score. The Phillies and Nationals underway, and 0-0 in the first. In the air, and Conger takes off the mask, flips it away, and handles that one for out number 2.
By the way, that's what you do on a pop fly. You hang on to the mask till you've sized up the pop up, then get rid of the mask. But here's that previous play. Look how quickly Conger comes out and makes the play. Didn't have to be this quick. It wasn't going to be a bang bang play, but the athleticism pretty easy to see.
Williams leading 2-1 has the first 2 outs here in the 6th inning, facing Matt Dominguez. Dominguez grounded out, and he was hit by a pitch. That's strike 1.
Got a couple of pitchers putting it in play pretty nicely right now.
Yes, sir. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Angels are 9-4 in the month of September. The Astros are 7-6 this month. Fouled away, and it's a 1 ball, 2 strike count. Last year, the Astros went 15-15 in September. Dancing with the Stros tonight after the game. Scheduled dancers are Jose Altuve, Jared Kozart, Dallas Keuchel, Jake Elmore, and Trevor Crowe. The appeal went to first. Check swing call by Mike Winters. That makes it 2-2 on Domingo. So those guys will be paired with professional dancers, and then their teammates will serve as judges to raise dollars for the Astros Foundation tonight at the House of Blues. Chop to shortstop. Ibar takes care of it for the 3rd out, and that's the 5th half inning with less than 10 pitches. It's 2-1 Angels.
Astros Hispanic Heritage Street Festival presented by State Farm on Saturday, September 28th. Come to the 6:10 game early for the free festival, featuring live salsa music, dancing, and autograph session, beer and local food trucks. Game tickets are available by calling 1-877-9-ASTROS or at astros.com.
Paul Clemens on the mound, 2-1. The Halos lead it. 7th inning rolls around with Mark Trumbo leading it off. Trumbo's 0 for 2. And he Fouls it back. Strike one for Clemens entering the 7th inning. His first start after being in the bullpen all year came at Chicago against the White Sox August 27th. He gave up 1 run in 6 innings, got a no decision, left with a 2-1 lead. Now trailing 2-1, he begins the 7th. Certainly bonus time as far as Clemens in his 3rd major league start and what he's doing for the Astros in this game. 75 pitches in for Paul Clemens. There is some action going on in the Astros bullpen right now. In tight, and it's a 1-ball 1-strike count. And Eric Bedard rejoins the rotation tomorrow night. There's Kevin Chapman working. Bedard will be facing Johnny Cueto at 7:10 tomorrow night here, with the Reds coming in. To be followed by Jordan Lyles and Brad Peacock in that series. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So Homer Bailey will not be pitching as he comes back close to home. The Reds are in a fight. Joey Votto hit a tape measure shot for them last night. Trumbo tried to check his swing. The appeal went down to first, and Mike Winters indicated no swing. 2-2. That one again goes into the seats. Still a 2-ball 2-strike count. We talked about the guy Vladimir Valentien, I believe is his name. Ash, is that?
That would be as close to phonically as I could come up with.
He has broken the Japanese home run record.
A pair of home runs earlier today.
57. Rolled out to shortstop to Hopper, and that's out number 1. He broke the record originally set by Sadaharu O, as he hit 2 home runs yesterday to give him 57.
Pretty remarkable, because story has been that that record has been really protected by players in Japan in recent years, and so now it belongs to a new man, Valentien.
Tuffy Rhodes, the former Astro, tied that record in 01. And Alex Cabrera, the former Diamondback, tied it in 02. Cole Calhoun takes ball 1, and there was a feeling that Sadaharu O, as a manager, then prevented these guys from breaking his own record by not pitching to them. There's a shot past a diving Altuve into right field. Calhoun is aboard with a 1-out single. But now they say there's a new livelier baseball in Japan.
Ah, that's the reason.
Yeah.
I see.
They juiced the ball without notifying the players, and it's resulted in a dramatic increase in home runs in Japan this year.
That is the reason the record is. So there's going to be an asterisk involved.
Yeah, they didn't juice the players, they juiced the ball.
See.
Eric Ibar is 1 for 2. He singled and scored in the 5th. Is there steroid testing in Japanese baseball?
I don't know, but you just can't have this juicing of the baseball going into a season.
I think they quit pitching to those guys, though, didn't they? Rhodes and Cabrera, when they tied the record. They didn't see anything to hit after that.
Legend has it that way.
1 ball, 1 strike. And Valentien missed the first 12 games of the year because of a leg injury, which he got playing for the Netherlands in the World Baseball Classic. So still was able to overcome that. Randy Bass hit 54 homers in 1985. But then the pitcher for the Yomiuri Giants, managed by O, walked him his last at bat. That's popped up, and VR is out in shallow center field. We're out number 2. So do you think if Barry Bonds comes back and
juice
manages?
Ball. It'd be a juice ball.
Okay.
That's the only way you could pass that. I don't know. You think you see Barry coming back as a manager?
No, but do you think if he did, he would do that same thing if somebody threatened his record?
Yeah, I can come back with all kinds of wisecracky comments to that, but
All right.
maybe so.
And Conger is 2 for 2 in this game. Twice he has hit balls through the shift. One to Altuve's right, the other one to his left. Altuve's out in right field again. So Barry Bonds now has lost his appeal of his conviction, right? And now he will be serving a sentence. Was he on house arrest kind of thing where he doesn't have to actually physically be in jail, but he's being monitored? Is that the
Is he going to have an ankle bracelet? Do you call them
think-
bracelets?
I think that's right. I don't think you call them bracelets, but yeah, it's not a leg ironer. It's some kind of ankle monitor. Isn't that the way they keep track of people who have been convicted of crimes and are not under house arrest? That gets out to Altuve, but can anybody get to first? Carter can. And that's out number 3. No runs, a hit, and a man left. God Bless America comes your way from Minute Maid Park. It's 2-1 Angels in the 7th.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is our Sunday afternoon tradition here at Minute Maid Park as we pause to honor our great nation and those that defend our freedoms each and every day around the world. Please rise and join us now as Miss K.D. Smith leads us with the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
September 27th through the 29th, the New York Yankees come to Minute Maid Park for the Astros' final series of this 2013 season. Be a part of history as Mariano Rivera closes out his Hall of Fame career. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com for your tickets.
Deep in the heart of Texas, they sing here at Minute Maid Park. In the finale of the season series between the Astros and the Angels, it's 2-1 Angels. Jerome Williams on the mound, Chris Carter at the plate. And it's strike 1 on a breaking pitch. Carter's 0 for 2 in this game. Looking at the final regular season stats from Quad Cities River Bandits and the numbers of Carlos Correa.
Impressive.
Yes. 0-2. 320 batting average, 450 at bats, 9 homers, 86 runs batted in, 73 runs scored, an OPS of 872. And Carter's down on strikes with the breaking stuff working for Williams.
Some of those top River Bandits, along with Carlos Correa. You got names like Tony Kemp, Rio Ruiz, remember that name, Josh Hader, probably another one to remember. But yeah, the numbers are really terrific over the course of the season. Maybe not the way they stepped up in the postseason, but those postseason numbers: 375 batting average for Kemp, 370 for Ruiz, and 2-0 for Hader. Very impressive as the club goes on and picks up a championship.
Sweeping that championship series. Mark Krause homered in the second inning. He's 1 for 2. Strike one. Athletics 3, Rangers 1 after 3 in Texas. So Oakland is eyeing a sweep of that 3-game series. And that race will be effectively pretty well over if they win today, right? It would be a 6.5 game lead for Oakland.
Feels that way. It really does.
Texas would still be alive for a wild card spot. And Texas currently tied with Tampa Bay with 81-66 records. Tied for those 2 wild card spots, but then Cleveland's only a game and a half behind both those clubs. And the Cleveland Indians will be facing the Astros in Cleveland later on this week in a 4-game set. So it's a week for the Astros of Ohio opponents, with Cincinnati for 3 here and Cleveland for 4 there. Then they go to Texas for 3, come back home and meet the Yankees in 3, and that'll do it. Krause fouls it back, and it's still a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Martin Perez is going for Texas today against Tommy Malone for Oakland. Chris Young hit his 12th home run off Perez. And Josh Donaldson hit number 23. Well, that Donaldson's going to get some MVP votes. He won't get the MVP, but he'll get some votes. 2 and 2.
I'm thinking back. Did he even make the All-Star squad? I don't think he did.
I think you're right. I believe he was left off.
A lot of competition at third, and Manny Machado was the hot item at the time.
Yep. 3 and 2 the count. And it's unfair in many ways to select an all-star team there in July when you get to the end of the season and say, wait a minute, how could so-and-so have been left off? Look at his numbers now. And back when there were 2 all-star games, it gave somebody a second chance to make it. Juan Gutierrez is warming up for the Angels. Cubs 2, Pirates 2, bottom of the 8th. As Juan Gutierrez works there. Big game for the Pirates, playing before a big crowd at home. They're more popular than the Steelers right now.
What have you done for me lately, apparently?
Yeah. Yankees and Red Sox play tonight at Fenway. Ivan Nova goes to the mound against, guess who? Clay Buchholz returns with a 10-0 record and a 1.61 ERA. With a shot on the ground, and Trumbo has it. 2 outs. We talked about the River Bandits and Carlos Correa, and there you see it. And he hit .333 in the playoffs in addition to those numbers we mentioned, Ash.
And you're going to try to tell me this kid is still a teenager?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking mighty good. Not every #1 pick pans out, but this one looks like it's panning out quite well.
It's like panning for gold and finding it.
Nuggets coming in.
Matt Pagnozzi is 0 for 2. Barnes on deck. Ibar gets a 2-hopper. And it's a 1-2-3 7th for Williams and a 2-1 lead for the Halos.
Game of the season as the Astros take on A-Rod and the New York Yankees on Sunday, September 29th at 1:10 p.m. 10,000 fans will receive a team poster courtesy of the Houston Chronicle. You could also win great prizes every half inning as part of Fan Appreciation Day. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com for tickets. Bill and Ellen.
And Layla, just thinking about A-Rod coming in for that series. We watched Kevin Chapman warming up here. That could be his final game for a long time, depending on how the arbitrator rules in his appeal of that lengthy suspension. So any A-Rod fans in the area might want to take that into account. Kevin Chapman is 1-1 with a 2.51 ERA for 18 games. Paul Clemens really did a magnificent job today. 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, 88 pitches, 55 strikes.
And Kevin Chapman, a guy that starting to up his stock considerably here for the ball club. Walks, probably the one area where he's had a tough go. 11 walks in 14 and a third innings. But Kevin Chapman is being used quite a bit. 19th outing now for Kevin.
Andrew Romine has the advantage of being a switch hitter. And Romine takes that one for strike one. 21,374 the paid attendance today. Fouls that one away, and it's 0-2 to Romine. Romine grounded out to the pitcher, and he hit a sac fly to left. And Chapman pitched Friday night, gave up 1 run in 1/3 of an inning. Comes inside with that one, makes it a 1-ball 2-strike count to Romine. The Reds lead at Milwaukee. It's 5-1 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Todd Frazier hit his 16th home run for Cincinnati. Caleb Gindel, number 4 for Milwaukee. Bronson Arroyo's pitching for the Reds. Chopped off the dish, and third base side it goes to Domingo, but foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Curious as to why this is a foul ball. Sounded like it came off of home plate.
I think maybe it hit off some equipment there.
Well, it must have if it truly was a foul ball.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't see it there. Do you?
I think it was off his foot. Yep.
Okay.
Joe Blanton's warming up for the Angels. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Tigers beat the Royals 3-2. Max Scherzer struck out 12 in 7 innings, but he was denied his 20th win. The bullpen let a 1-run lead get away. And the Tigers rallied to win it late. An elusive number 20 not coming Scherzer's way today. Drew Smiley got the win after giving up the tying run. He goes to 6-0. Jeremy Guthrie, the loser, is 14-11. Joaquin Benoit got his 20th save.
Saw where somebody was pushing with an article for Chris Sale to be the American League Cy Young Award winner.
Carter with a play to his left. It's Romine. Would you be supportive of that?
Oh, I don't know. You know, I haven't looked at the numbers that thoroughly at this point. I know Scherzer has compiled a tremendous season. He just hasn't been able to close it out here at the end of the year. But, you know, the Tigers have more than one guy that could certainly be a viable Cy Young Award winner.
Anibal Sanchez has had quite a year. Well, if Sale got it, it would be back in the Felix Hernandez type range of thinking, right?
Yeah, and I don't know that I would go that way. I think Chris Sale is as good as anybody in the league. But, yeah, the White Sox just haven't done enough to tell me, hey, this guy was ultimately the guy that deserves the Cy Young Award. I'm not sure that award needs to go to a guy who's putting together a 500 season for a lower division club. What about you? Do you lean one way or the other?
I lean to Scherzer. Pitches ball 2-0.
Yeah, I think a lot is being made about the fact that his last 2-3 starts haven't been outstanding. But boy, the bulk of his work this year was just as good as it gets.
It really was. It's Dane De La Rosa warming up, not Joe Blanton. It's 3-0. Mariners are trailing the Cardinals. It's 9-2 St. Louis in the bottom of the 5th inning. Yadier Molina hit his 12th. Matt Adams, number 14. There's a walk to Schuck on 4 pitches. Kendrick will come up. You mentioned it earlier with the Cardinals, but there was an article about them the other day, just about their whole organizational philosophy. And you have the Matt Adamses of the world who are just plugged in because there's an injury, and they wind up hitting, what, 14 home runs he has right now. They have drafted a lot of guys who can hit, and are adaptable to moving to different positions and filling needs as they arise.
Matt Carpenter, what a year he's put together as a second baseman.
There's another one. Graphic example. Kendrick showing bunt, taking a strike.
Of course, they have a catcher who locks down a running game for the opposition, swings the bat well. It's a team that's compiled very well. Starting pitching again, and then bullpen to go with it. But you're right, they swing the bats, and when the Astros went through St. Louis, the Cardinals had, I want to say, like a 370 batting average as a club with men in scoring position.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible? No balls, 2 strikes.
Now, I don't know how you draft for that or prepare for that. That's a group of guys really doing well, and I don't know how the second half has gone in that regard, but it's a good club.
And they draft the young pitching talent, the Shelby Millers, the Michael Wakas, who could come up and contribute very early in their major league careers. Yeah, I think, Ash, as we've watched baseball down through the years, the very striking thing about this particular time in the game is the influx of tremendous pitching talent in the game. The Matt Harveys of the world, and the Millers and the Wakas and Garrett Cole. Just so many talented young arms, and the Astros have a bunch of them on the way.
Do you view that as being a change in the game, or is it that we're just becoming more focused on those guys? I don't know.
I really couldn't say. I mean, Jen Lowe warming up.
You have a time in baseball where there were magic golden names: Bob Gibson, Sandy Koufax, Juan Marichal, on and on. Great names. And so I don't know, are these guys any different than that core of guys? And do they only come along every so often?
All legitimate questions. Kendrick puts it in the air to right field, and Trevor Crowe back for the catch. He headed in, and then he jammed on the brakes and reached out for it for out number 2. We go to Leila Rahimi.
Well, it's time for the Geico quote of the day, continuing with exceptional talent in the major leagues, and it's from Buck Showalter. He says, "I love how Trout plays the game. He impacts the game in so many ways." That's coming from a manager who's leading a team right now into strong contention again for the wild card. And guys, you know a thing or two about seeing Trout after 18 games. Your thoughts?
Just the way he ran the bases there on that clip. We were talking about that last night, Layla. This guy is an absolute runaway train. He's just magnificent running the bases. He takes the body lean, the speed, but it's the way he turns the base and gets to the next base. There's just no wasted effort there.
We have seen him twice this year against the Astros. Score from first base on a double, 1 to win a ball game in Anaheim. He's a great base runner. People don't talk a whole lot about base running. It's about the offensive side of the game or the pitching side of the game. Defensively, even though some people say he's gone down this year, I tend to agree with Mike Scioscia. I think he's still a well above average player in that regard. And he just does everything extremely well, and I think that's what Buck Showalter is referring to.
Question for you, too, by the way, about that.
Bouncer, and Altuve tracks it to his left. On over to Carter. Can it hold until the bottom of the inning? It's 2-1 Angels.
Sports World Kevin Eschenfelder has it covered with a fresh take and special guests you won't get anywhere else. Sports Talk Live weekdays at 5 o'clock only on Comcast Sportsnet. And speaking of Sports Talk, my question for you two, Bill and Alan, when we talk about Mike Trout and we think about how he may have dropped off, this is a man who actually gave Miguel Cabrera, the Triple Crown winner, a contest in discussing the Major League Baseball MVP vote, the AL MVP vote. When you talk about somebody even in the same sentence as a man who won a Triple Crown for the first time since Carl Yastrzemski, what does that say about his talent? I don't think anything could measure off that drop-off, albeit maybe small, when you talk about that kind of year.
He set the bar very high, didn't he? And he still has come out and had another terrific year, even compared to last year. Colin Cowgill is the left fielder. Jerome Williams out of the game after 95 pitches. 64 were strikes. And he yields to Dane De La Rosa with a 2-1 lead for the Angels. Barnes is 1 for 2. Brandon leads it off, to be followed by VR and Altuve. Barnes backs out of there, ball 1. For Williams, 7 innings, allowing just 5 hits and 1 run, putting in a position to win this 2-1 game. And De La Rosa will have a lot to say about that. In 69 games, he's 6-1 with a 3.03. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. De La Rosa has tied the Angels rookie record last night with his 69th appearance. It was set by Bill Kelso way back in 1967.
In response a bit to Layla, in terms of Mike Trout and Miguel Cabrera, And all these creative new stats baseball has, the WAR category, second straight year that Mike Trout is above Miguel Cabrera in WAR rating.
I think it speaks to the quality of player he is when you can challenge a Triple Crown winner for MVP.
Extremely unique in his set of tools.
Dane De La Rosa, listed at 6'7", 30 years old, born in Torrance, California. Works to Brandon Barnes with a 1-2 count. 6 hits for the Angels, 5 for the Astros. The Angels have the only error in the game. Barnes works it to a 2-ball, 2-strike count.
I've got a stat to Brownie's point just a few moments ago. So Mike Trout leads the American League in WAR. Take that as you will. Second to Mike Trout is Josh Donaldson of the Oakland A's.
Is he close in WAR?
Well, he's a point and a half behind, 8.8 to 7.3, but he's just above Robinson Cano.
Liner into left center field. That's a hit for Barnes, leading it off here in the home 8th inning. The Astros down by 1. Barnes 2 for 3.
And another one of those good at bats against a right-hand pitcher. Brandon Barnes, if he can get it against righties and lefties and play defense in center the way he does, he goes from being, I think, maybe that 4th outfielder in some people's minds to a high-quality center fielder.
Barnes has 11 stolen bases in 22 attempts. Jonathan Villar is 1 for 3. Got an infield hit in the 5th inning. Double play depth for Ibar and Kendrick. Third baseman in tight, Romine, as the throw goes over on Barnes. The Astros have 14 stolen bases in 22 tries against the Angels in the season series. The Angels have allowed 120 steals. They've caught just 32. Ernesto Frieri, the closer, is warming up for the Halos. Villar shows bunt, and he takes ball 1 with the corner infielders charging. Altuve's on deck. Villar has put down 6 sacrifice bunts. Barnes went back. Barnes does not have a big lead right now. It does appear that Bo Porter would like to use the sacrifice to get the potential tying run to second base. We'll see how it plays out. Villar takes a look at it, and it's 2-0 now. So how much would that original plan change for a skipper if he went in thinking Villar's sacrificing now that the count gets to 2-0, Ash?
Yeah, that's really intriguing, and I think it does make it tough on the skip. But do you change anything? Do you allow Villar, who's very good at bunting and at kind of that creative bunt style, if the third baseman comes in, to try to slap one by?
Way upstairs, ball 3. It's 3-0.
And how many pitches now would you like to see Villar take? If they're willing to put you on with a walk here, go ahead and take it. A couple of runners on board. Yeah, it does change with each pitch in numerous scenarios.
And Mike Butcher, the pitching coach, comes out. Even though the Angels relievers have 24 losses, when they have the lead after 7 innings in a game, their record is 55-5. Frieri is at work, and he has a companion out there as well. That's Corey Rasmus.
They no longer have Scott Downs, who was a big part of their bullpen for a year plus.
Yeah, they traded him to the Braves. He was a real mainstay of that bullpen, a guy who could make many appearances as a left-hander. VR takes, and that's ball 4, so he didn't see anything he could bunt and takes the 4-pitch walk. Barnes to second, nobody out for Altuve now.
Well, I think if there was a desire to have VR bunt, there certainly is a desire now to have Altuve lay one down.
Mike Scioscia's on his way to the mound, and after that 4-pitch walk, he's going to bang his hands together and move on to another pitcher. Frieri, the closer, has been warming up. It's 2-1 Angels. We'll be right back.
Oklahoma, Arkansas, or New Mexico, CSN Houston covers the entire 5-state region, and we want your story ideas. Email us your ideas at regionalroundup@comcastsportsnet.com.
The little guy's into the ball game. He's watching the Astros bat here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And Barnes led off with a single. VR walk. That prompted the pitching change. De La Rosa out of the game. Ernesto Frieri, the closer, coming in. And Frieri will evidently be trying for a 2-inning, 6-out save, leading 2-1. It'll be Altuve and then Trevor Crowe on deck against Frieri. He's 2-4 with a 3.79 ERA. 33 saves and 37 chances.
Now, if that bunt is on for Altuve, and I would guess it to be, I think the Angels will look in that direction. The toughest guy to bunt on is a guy who brings it really good and hard, and that's what Frieri does. Bring it up in the strike zone and just throw it as hard as you can. Of course, Altuve is pretty gifted in terms of his bat control.
He has 3 sacrifice bunts. If he gets these runners over, it would put the tying and potential go-ahead run in scoring position. That would be the reason to do it. Trevor Crowe on deck. Time had been called. Fans are calling for a balk.
Frieri, with that little move right there, wanted to see what Altuve was intending to do. Frieri didn't look up early. Altuve was showing bunt all the way.
Altuve 1 for 3 in this game. He was robbed by Kendrick last time up. Showing bunt, taking the bat back, and there's ball 1.
There's that high fastball. 94. We've seen much more than that in terms of velocity from Frieri.
Frieri, 28 years old, from Bolivar, Colombia. Began his career with the San Diego organization. Altuve got that hit in the 3rd inning. Then in the 5th inning, he hit the ball up the middle, and Kendrick made an excellent play on him. Now bunting, he gets it down to 3rd. And the throw goes over to first to Kendrick, receiving the throw from Romine. Sacrifice for Altuve, advancing Barnes to 3rd, VR to 2nd, 1 out.
That was professionally done. Didn't make it look difficult, just laid it down, got the work done. I guess when you're red hot with the stick, you just do everything right.
Certainly did. Now the infield comes in. Trevor Crowe, the batter. Crowe is 1 for 3. Red Wallace on deck. Frieri in his career against the Astros is 2-0 with 4 saves and a 1.54 ERA in 9 games. Time is called. Dave Tremblay going over to talk to his base runner at 3rd, Barnes.
I think Bo Porter might have hollered out of the dugout on the first base side as Crowe stepped back, and Dave Tremblay got further message there.
That's the way it looked. Possibility of a squeeze. And it is strike 1.
First strike is a tough one to take in a scenario like this. Squeeze, as you say, certainly a possibility. But do you put a squeeze on when you've got a hot hitter at the plate?
Yeah.
Runners at 2nd and 3rd and already 1 out.
It's always a tough question. got a win in Anaheim against the Astros in the 10th inning back in mid-August on the 17th. He's had those 4 saves this year. He's only given up 1 run in 6 appearances against Houston. And now Conger will go out.
It's kind of amazing how often we see this in baseball now, where you get into the bullpen and the signs become difficult to get, and everybody seems confused.
Giants lead the Dodgers 1-0 in Los Angeles. They're in the bottom of the second. Hunter Pence hit his 24th home run. He's reportedly engaged in contract talks with the Giants. Otherwise, he's headed for free agency. Pitch out, no squeeze on, and it's 1-1.
And is that the reason that Frieri wasn't able to come up with the sign? Is because what he was looking at was a pitch out.
That could have been it, Ash. Well, there's some strong managerial maneuvering right now.
And might Mike Scioscia be willing to pitch out again and again, and with first base open, go ahead and load him up for Brett Wallace?
Another good point. Crowe goes to a 1-2 count with that swing and miss.
So that theory out the window. Well, you would think the squeeze is gone now, so Mike Scioscia doesn't have to think in that direction.
Well, Porter's club 18-29 in 1-run games. Crowe fouls it. For Trevor Crowe, golden opportunity here in the month of September after being injured, after having to go back down and rehab his right shoulder and playing a lot of games at Oklahoma City to strengthen that shoulder so he could come back and get this chance. He was in the minors all last year, had been in the big leagues with Cleveland in 09 and 2010 and 2011. First round pick in 05. A chance to really deliver a big hit in a late season game. And a swing and a foul tip will be a strikeout for out number 2.
And when you've got a guy who throws like this on the hill, is the reason I said taking that first strike can really be tough. It puts you in a hole, one you just can't get out of, and that's the case for Trevor Crowe. Well, that was a fortunate grab there on the foul tip.
Conger used all of his mitt on that one. Now it's Brett Wallace. Infielders get to drop back now with 2 outs. Wallace is 0 for 3. And the closer coming in here to face the 2, 3, 4 hitters in the 8th inning with a game on the line. And this is what some managers will do if their closer has had some rest. Call upon him for a 6-out save if he's facing those dangerous hitters in the 8th inning. That's strike 1. Obviously, it's tough to do it many times in a season. The way closers are used today, they are kept available for as many games as possible. And after a 6-out type of save, usually the closer would be down for at least 1 day.
I wonder how Goose Gossage and others might respond to that.
They'd laugh. He and Bruce Sutter and Raleigh Fingers and Lee Smith.
Yeah, there was a group of those guys that would beg for 2 innings.
Now 0-2, and Wallace will have to battle here. Dominguez on deck. Frieri has really come in and changed the tone of this inning, with De La Rosa leaving with runners at first and second and nobody out. And a last strikeout, and Friere has come in and put out the fire here in the 8th. It's no runs a hit, 2 men stranded. It's 2-1 Angels moving to the 9th. It was 2-1 through 8. The Astros welcome Joey Votto and the Cincinnati Reds to town for a big 3-game series. Astros pregame live will set the table at 6:30 only on Comcast Sportsnet.
And now let's take a look at tomorrow's pitching matchups, brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car. Johnny Cueto goes for the Reds, 4-2, 3.33 the ERA, and that batting average against very impressive at 2.13. Eric Bedard gets himself a start and a bonus in the process, 4-10, and a 4.47 ERA. Tough series coming up with Cincinnati.
First ever appearance for Bedard against the Reds. Now Kevin Chapman delivers. There's ball 1. Josh Hamilton leading it off here in the 9th inning. He had the RBI triple in the first to make it 1-0. And it is 2-1 on a sac fly by Romine in the 5th. Chapman's slider works for a strike. That evens the count at 1-1. Chapman begins his 2nd inning in relief of Paul Clemens, who gave up 2 runs in 7 innings. Walking 1, fanning 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hamilton just has not looked anywhere nearly as effective against left-handed pitching, and in this series it's been pretty obvious. He just does not have his heart in the swing against left-handers so many times.
Sometimes heart and tail section don't work in conjunction.
He's just really soft on that swing and strikes out. That's number 1 for Chapman. Now Bo Porter is out to make a move with Trumbo, the big right-handed power hitter, coming up next. He's had his right-hander warming up in the pen, and that's all he'll ask of Chapman, who goes an inning and a third. Gives up no hits, no runs, walks 1, fans 1, keeps it close. Chai-Jen Lowe's been warming up, and it's 2-1 Angels. We'll see him in just a moment. Body on. Right-hander Chai-Jen Lowe comes in to face the right-handed Mark Trumbo. Trumbo's 0 for 3. Lowe in 15 games, 0-3 with a 5.40 ERA.
Really been effective against the left-hand hitters. The right-handers, however, oddly hitting well over the 300 mark against him.
As he comes in to face Trumbo, the man with a big power swing with 33 homers, 95 runs batted in. He's pitching for the first time since last Monday in Seattle. But that little guy probably doesn't care too much about that. He's getting ready for Dancing with the Astros.
I think the guys may decide they don't want that kind of competition involved.
There's ball 1. Lowe in that game at Seattle last Monday night gave up 2 runs in 1 inning and allowed a home run to the outfielder Almonte. He got a blown save. That was his 3rd blown save. The Astros, though, won the game 6-4. At the time, he came in leading 2-1 in the 7th. He gets that one in the zone at 94, and that evens a count at 1-1 on Trumbo.
Another one of those intriguing arms that the Astros are taking a good look at. He can go mid-90s rather handily.
Now might be a good time to do it with Trumbo batting. Trumbo fouls it.
96 qualifies.
It definitely does. That's some high octane stuff. 1-2 on Trumbo. Pirates beat the Cubs in Pittsburgh 3-2 with a run in the 8th inning, giving Kyle Farnsworth his first win as a Bucco. Pedro Strop lost it. Mark Melanson got save number 16. And the Cardinals are playing an important game, and so are the Reds. The Reds are winning 5-2 at Milwaukee in the 8th. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
By the way, we were talking about the Cardinals earlier and about their abilities with men in scoring position this year. They are far and away the best team offensively in all of the major leagues with runners in scoring position. 326, that mark at this stage of the year. That's just incredible.
It really is. High chop. Dominguez backs up, bare hands, long throw across. This stretch by Carter, and they get him. 2 outs.
Dominguez can really play that hot corner. And Chris Carter has shown an ability to pick throws at first base. That's not easy when you're backed up like that on that play. And that's not easy either.
Yeah. Short hop on the backhand side. That's impressive for Carter. And Dominguez didn't try to rush it or force the play at all. That's good teamwork on both corners. Now it's Cole Calhoun batting. Calhoun's 1 for 3. The Astros have Dominguez, Carter, and Krause due up in the last of the ninth. That's ball 1 for low. The Cardinals are also winning 9-2 over the Mariners. They're in the top of the 7th inning. So as of right now, all those 3 principals involved in the NL Central race either have won in Pittsburgh's case or are winning in St. Louis and Cincinnati's case. Calhoun not close to that pitch, and it's a 1-ball 1-strike count to Cole. Indians and White Sox are in a delay in Chicago. Rain. That might be the closest the White Sox can get to doing anything good against Cleveland. The Indians have beaten them 11 or 12 times in a row now. You think they seeded the clouds today? 1 and 2.
I was going to say that's a cold rain you're dropping on that club. Yeah, the White Sox have had a rough campaign.
Angels swept the 3-game series at Toronto before they came in here. They go to Oakland next. 2 balls 2 strikes. So both these clubs in their next series will have a chance to do some upsetting things to contenders.
You think Robin Ventura actually forgot how to manage since last year?
No.
Got to have the horses, don't you?
Oh yeah. Well, you talked about Chris Sale's lack of run support. That's ball 3, and it's 3-2 to Calhoun. That has played into what's been happening there. They've wasted some good pitching. They've had some pitchers who have been injured. They've had some older guys who haven't produced. They traded Alex Rios. Paul Konerko has been far from his good years. Gordon Beckham got hurt. Yeah, they've had some things to deal with this year. No A.J. Pierzynski. No catcher has stepped up to really take hold. Still 3-2. Rangers still trail 3-1. The Athletics batting in the top of the 6th inning against Martin Perez. Well, you'd have to expect some major changes on that Ranger club if they don't make the playoffs, wouldn't you, Ash?
I would. You know, 2 years in a row to have things slip as they have for Texas, really tough to explain.
A strikeout for Lowe ends the top of the 9th inning, and now the Angels leading 2-1 will be facing Dominguez, Carter, and Krause due up in the bottom of the 9th. Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Right here in downtown Houston, it is 2-1. The Angels and the Astros move to the bottom of the 9th inning. Houston Texans just won in overtime, beating the Tennessee Titans. 24 for Tennessee, 30 for Houston in overtime, and Texans trailed by 8 late in that game, so they rescue another one in the late stages. They're off to a 2-0 start. There's Chris Carter. He'll watch Matt Dominguez come to the plate to lead it off in the bottom of the 9th inning. And then after Carter bats, Mark Krause is due up 3rd in the frame against the closer Ernesto Frieri, who came in with runners at 1st and 2nd, nobody out in the 8th inning. Altuve put down a sacrifice bunt. The infield came in. Frieri struck out Crow and Wallace then. Dominguez is 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch. Strike 1 to Matt. Each club with 6 hits. The Angels have the only error. Angels getting ready for a long flight to Oakland after this game.
That's a good looking slider, and I would imagine Frieri feels the same way. Where is the call on that one? I was about to say Matt Dominguez is the guy for the Astros who has been the consistent, big swing, big moment hitter for this club.
In the air, and this will go back and out of play. 1-2. He really has. He's had some late inning magic.
He's that guy that seems to know the big moment and not shy away from it. He has a response with it.
Tomorrow night in Oakland, Sonny Gray pitches for the Athletics against C.J. Wilson, a 16-game winner for the Angels. Oh, and hit Conger.
I think that was the accidental foul ball that just takes a bite out of the catcher.
Boy.
You're so exposed as you reach up to your left as a catcher like that. Watch what happens here.
Ooh.
It just creates an angle that mask is not designed to take care of. That's where, for me, that hockey mask probably plays better. But that's what happens when you take a foul tip to one side of your jaw or the other. It throws the jaw, and then you wind up, I don't know the technical terms, but it hurts for a good couple of weeks. I'm fine as far as you can tell.
Boy.
Mike Scioscia's been there.
Bad. How many blows do you think he took? Not only from foul balls and things of that nature, but base runners. He used to relish blocking the plate. He was one of the best ever at doing that.
I'm not going to feel bad for Mike in terms of blocking the plate. I feel bad for every runner who tried to challenge him, because Mike delivered the blow.
Yeah, he would just stand right over home plate and then collapse on top of it when the base runner came in and he had the baseball.
I've seen some NFL high-quality linebackers who didn't deliver quite the way Scioscia did at times.
1-2 to Dominguez. Matt fouls it back. Slider not in as good a location as the earlier one that just missed for Frieri. Frieri had solid years for the Padres in 2010 and 2011, but then became a closer last year. Matt spoils that one and stays alive at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Sometimes all you can do is give a good at bat, quality at bat, and that's what Matt Dominguez does. Win or lose in this one, he's gone up there and he's battled fastballs and breaking balls. This gives you the very best.
Frieri's 33 saves, a career high for him. The 8th player in Angels history to reach the 30 save mark. Foul back, good battle here.
Yep, and you see that type of swing. If you center it up, you've got a chance of driving it out of the ballpark, and Matt's done it on more than one occasion.
Frieri is pitching for the first time since Thursday, so that would play into Scioscia's decision to use him for 6 outs in this game. And Dominguez looks it over. It's 2-2. Boy, this is a good one here. This matchup, fastballs and sliders. What's he going to come with next? This will be the 8th pitch to Domingo. And the slider is tapped foul. Really guessing game here for the catcher too on how to finish him off, Ash.
Not sure there's a real answer. And it's part of what I've loved in watching Matt Dominguez. He just leaves it to where it doesn't matter sometimes if you make a good pitch, if you tried to make the right decision, he's going to put a good swing on it and drive the ball.
He puts it in the air and again out of play. This is a dandy of a battle here in the 9th inning with a 1-run lead for the Angels.
Got a bit of a hanging breaking ball, the slider, but it was also hanging toward the outside edge. Leave that over the heart of the plate, and Matt just might turn that around.
Eduardo Perez on the right, the bench coach for Bo Porter. Big win for Baltimore at Toronto, 3-1. In the air, and again it will be in the seats and out of play. Well, the Orioles won their first road series since they went to San Francisco August 9th through the 11th when they took 2 of 3. Miguel Gonzalez left that game with a strained right groin after 5 1/3. Bud Norris has had some elbow issues lately. Domingo puts one on a line into right field. Cole Calhoun over to play. What a tremendous at bat. 11 pitches, and he rammed one hard into right to take his hitting streak to 5 games.
There's something about Matt Dominguez. You can look and find that he's hitting 243 on the year, but look a little closer what he does when game's on the line and you need a big at bat. He's gotten better and better.
Leads for the pinch runner, Jimmy Paredes.
This is good work. Down and away. Just carves through it. You won't find many at bats to compare with this. The overall body of work of what Matt put together.
Chris Carter's the batter. He's 0 for 3. 4 steals for Paredes in 8 tries. And the throw goes over from Frieri. So Carter would represent a double play threat. Certainly the Angels would love to get him to bounce into his 7th of the year. That's not very many for a guy with 460 at bats.
But because of that base hit by Dominguez, he also represents the potential winning run at the plate. And now you look for the good swings.
Strike 1 to Carter.
You have to say late a bit on that fastball up in the strike zone. And I think that's a part of Chris Carter trying to be short with that swing.
Buddy Boshears is warming up from the left side, and Juan Gutierrez from the right side in the bullpen for the Angels. 23 pitches for Frieri. And it's 0-2. Mark Krause is on deck. Boshears the lefty. The Mets beat the Marlins 1-0 in 12 innings. Tampa Bay Rays leading 4-2 in the bottom of the 8th at Minnesota. Will Myers hit his 12th home run. Sean Rodriguez, number 4. Myers having a very strong rookie season. Padres shut out the Braves 4-0. Nationals beat the Phillies 11-2. Jordan Zimmerman goes to 18-8 with a win for Washington. Carter looks at a ball to make it 1-2. Justin Morneau had the game-winning single for the Pirates in their 3-2 win over the Cubs. And the fastball gets a strikeout for Frieri. 1 out. That's his 3rd punch out. Mark Krause hit a home run in the 2nd inning off Jerome Williams. He's grounded out twice since then. Matt Pagnozzi due up next, but we'll see somebody else in the on-deck circle. Brandon Laird. Strike one to Krause.
Stay tuned for Postgame Live presented by MD Anderson, making cancer history.
Corey Hepla would love to wrap up a ninth inning, come from behind win on Postgame Live. Throw goes over to first. Brewers are trying to spoil the day for the Reds. They've tied it. It's 5-5 in Milwaukee, top of the ninth now. The Reds led 5-1 going to the bottom of the seventh. Krause looks at it. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Deep breath for the young first baseman outfielder. Krause puts it in the air, and the third baseman coming over for a look, but Romine will reach in. Yeah, he will snag it. He had enough room. 2 outs. And now it's Laird pinch hitting for Pagnazzi. So Brandon Laird will come up. The Astros down to the final out.
Key thing here for the Angels third baseman is getting to the spot early. Get yourself there, grab hold of the rail, and see if you have a shot for the play.
The Angels are unbeaten in their last 6 series. They've won 5. They split 1. They face the pinch hitter Laird, hitting .200 with 3 homers, 8 runs batted in for 45 major league at bats this year. He's 0 for 5 pinch hitting for the Astros. Had good numbers at AAA Oklahoma City. And that's back for strike one.
Yeah, for anybody who thinks that Mike Scioscia maybe should be at the end of his line as the leader of this Angels ball club, look at the way the Angels have played down the stretch for him. They continue to play hard.
That's a good point, Ash.
I just think the guy is as good a manager as you'll find. He's had great success. Great managers can't win with ball clubs that don't play well.
Laird looks at it. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count for Brandon. Brandon hit .277 for Oklahoma City. He had 16 homers there, drove in 79 runs and 470 at bats. Played first base and third base.
You know, and further to my point, for Bo Porter, the Astros have played maybe their best baseball here in September, so they're giving it all they've got.
It's 1-2 now to Laird. Brandon Barnes is on deck. Bo Porter's club trailing by 1 in the bottom of the ninth.
I think as a manager, you take that as a badge of honor, how well the guys play under the toughest of circumstances. When you've had a rough year, people feel like it's easy to pack it in late.
And Laird is down on strikes to end it. Frieri picking up save number 34. And Jerome Williams goes to 8-10 with a win. So Scioscia's Angels win 2 out of 3 this weekend. They're 5-1 on this road trip. Final score, Angels 2, Astros 1.